Who is that? Commander of the Northern Armies. Galadriel.
No, that's not the 1% that's good. It's just the part that made me laugh the most. I'm Captain Kirk! So something actually happened in the 6th episode of The Rings of Power, which, for this show, is actually a compliment. For about 5 hours prior to this, it's been moving along at a snail's pace, but that feels like an insult to snails. They can't help but move slow. They do the best they can. I expect more from a show with this IP attached to it. With all the money and talent thrown at this thing, it should be impossible for it to be so much of a nothing burger. But yet, here it is. Miracles can happen, I guess, but in the reverse. Thankfully, Galadriel takes a back seat to most of the goings-on in this episode. Most of the episode focuses on the humans fighting the orcs in battle that, at least, kept me awake. But I know that's not saying much. And maybe you're wondering now, why am I even watching this show at all if I don't like it? Well, 2 reasons. 1, I think I'm kind of sick in the head. And 2, I feel like it's being shoved down my throat to the extent that I have no choice but to eat it. And 3, yeah, I know I only said 2 reasons, but I lied. So 3, one day I'm just going to be bones in a box anyway, so why the hell not? Plus, yeah, okay, so 4 things. 4, complaining about things is part of the human experience. And yeah, you could argue that I'm just half human thanks to the transporter accident, but just because I was an accident doesn't mean I don't have thoughts and feelings. Anyway, most of this episode is a battle between the orcs and the humans. The humans are led by Bronwyn. Why Bronwyn? Well, because she's a woman. And that's the only reason. You can smell agenda like shit on a shoe, and oh boy, does it smell shitty in here.
Oh! Let it go!
Of course, I could be wrong about this, and you could think I'm a fool and a backwards-thinking caveman or something else. But this is what I'm picking up from watching her and the other female characters in the series. That, combined with some of the things said in the cast and crew interviews. That buzzword of representation was used a lot. And it feels like they want women to be represented as the heroes, as the leaders. Okay, fine. If you want to make Bronwyn a leader and a strategist, okay, but give me a reason to believe it. Up to this point, the show hasn't set her up to be anything but a concerned villager who just happened to be right once. The show should have given me a scene or 2 of Bronwyn maybe winning at chess or taking a position on the village council. Something like that would have made her actions in this show as a military leader somewhat plausible. Well, at least in the reality of the show anyway. There's no reason based in story or character why any of these people would follow her into battle. Sure, maybe some would, but definitely not all, which makes it all feel so contrived. Plus, the strategies she comes up with in the episode aren't that remarkable. They're pretty unremarkable, actually. Kevin McAllister came up with better traps, and the orcs are so stupid, it's almost funny that they lose to these people. And I don't think it's supposed to be funny. Bronwyn as a leader and strategist is akin to she and Arondir being deeply in love. It's baseless. They both lack any kind of foundation. Why are they in love? Because they just are. Why is she so good at strategy? Because she just is. Then there's Galadriel. She saves the day in the end, of course. But it doesn't matter, because she's rotten to the core. Which is a problem because she's kind of the main protagonist of the show. She's rueful, stubborn, manipulative, and arrogant. And by the way, giving her a tragic backstory is just weak sauce. Experiencing a loss of a family member is just sad in general. But the show never gave me anything specific about it at all. I never knew her brother, aside from some malarkey he told her once under a tree when she was a kid. That's not character development. It's just lazy writing. So now she's a great leader and a warrior, revered and renowned. Don't forget she leaves people behind in the pursuit of her own desires. Isildur, a Galadriel fanboy, gets to slobber over her in one of the more desperate scenes in the episode. And help me out here, but doesn't something look wrong with their mouths in this scene? Anyway, he worships the ground she walks on because the show makes it a requirement. So Bronwyn and her troops have actually been outmaneuvered. Who'd have thought, right? But Bronwyn was so brave, gravely injured, near death, she even told them to help that guy first. Oh no! That guy? He was great! So it looks like they're done for. Until the cavalry shows up with Galadriel in the lead, of course. As far as I know, elves are physically superior to humans. Stronger, faster, more agile. It's like Vulcans to humans. So I don't have a problem with Galadriel being capable of some ass kicking. It's that she's the best ass kicker, like, that's ever lived.
Savior of the universe.
Even when paired with men of her own kind, she's still the better fighter. And I mean better by far. So much so that she makes these guys look like incompetent boobs. This is where I start to smell that agenda again, and it stinks. And I don't mean any insult to the actress by this, but she has all the fiery presence of a shampoo model. She must weigh maybe 110 pounds, at most. But everyone is in love with her, because they have to be. Even Arondir, who has shown himself to be more than a capable fighter, certainly wouldn't be that awestruck by another elf who can swing a sword. But he is. I guess he never heard about that time she led her troops on a selfish, never-ending quest where her crew mutinied against her, but not before she almost left one of them for dead. Amazon just went too far. Make her a skilled fighter, okay, but not the bestest warrior ever, just because women need to be shown that they can be strong too. We end up getting a little more backstory about Adar, but it's disappointing, just like a lot of other things on this show. Turns out he's just another low-level bad guy, no big deal. And in a moment that I don't think was supposed to be funny, but totally made me laugh, was when Halbrand was about to kill Adar, but pauses, and asks him if he remembers him. Adar is like, no? Oh, that look on Halbrand's face. It's like that moment in Street Fighter when Chun-Li confronted M. Bison.
The day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Oh man, perspective just totally takes the piss out of revenge, doesn't it? So the townspeople are saved at the last minute, thanks to the Numenorians and the Queen Regent, of course, who did nothing and just watched from atop a hill, which I'm actually fine with. Think about it, the showrunners could have made her a fierce warrior too, so I think we dodged a bullet there. Here, she's just another dirty politician. Works for me. Galadriel does some tricks on her horse and kills orcs with all the tension of the Jedi killing battle droids in the Phantom Menace. How exciting. You know, it helps when the bad guys are actually threatening and the hero isn't always perfect. This isn't a trade secret, by the way, it's obvious screenwriting. Unless, of course, it's mindless action schlock like Commando, then it's okay. So they think that they've won, get the beer, and start celebrating. They pat each other on the back for how brave they've all been. But then Waldrig turns out to be the party pooper. As it turns out, he had the key/sword thing all along and puts it in the lock. I guess that makes him the key master? Anyway, I don't know why he does this. From what I've seen of him, his loyalty swings to whatever direction the wind seems to be blowing. He's just been looking out for himself this whole time, so you think he'd just run off, thankful that he survived this shitfest, instead of, opening the gates of hell. But no. Then ash and lava start raining down, totally changing the vibe of the whole party. And, oh no, not that guy too. He was my second favorite. For no reason, Galadriel just stands there as all this fire and ash rains down around her. We know it's because she was posing for the Vanity Fair cover, but here, in the reality of the show, it makes no logical sense. Man, this show really loves shots of people staring at things. So it seems like she dies, but we know she doesn't. Again, the show just continues to disappoint me. But I'll keep watching because, I'm kind of messed up in the head. Plus, I just love toxic waste. Oh yeah, that 1% that wasn't garbage, it was here, when Adar gives the order to kill the townspeople. And it's not just the fact that he gave a ruthlessly cold-hearted order. We would expect him to do that, but it's the way the scene played out. No dramatic close-ups, no music to cue you in on the coming brutality. The casual swiftness of it reminded me of that scene in Red Dawn when C. Thomas Howell executed that guy that ratted them out. In that movie, it's all done in a wide shot, without any signals that it might happen. It's uncomfortably shocking, to say the least. This Rings of Power scene was like that. Nowhere near as good, but still, well done. Yeah, I thought it would be nice to leave the video on a complimentary note. I can't guarantee I'll always be able to do that though.